We're doing this again.
Bro, I come to get MIT, huh?
So wait, what were we filming?
Oh my goodness, there's so many questions that didn't record.
I know. Wait, we were filming for an hour? Okay, what's up? Today I'm here with my friends and my sister, and they're all college students. We're all intellectuals here. So I thought I would do a college advice video with these three lovely college students, and should we introduce ourselves? I'll introduce you guys. And they'll give me advice, they'll give you advice, they'll give themselves advice. We're all gonna get some advice today. I'll introduce everyone. This is Rachel. She goes to UPENN, and she is
I'm a rising sophomore.
Rising sophomore.
Wait, what if we did the thing where it was like, hi, this is Rachel. We all went, hi, Rachel.
This isn't an AA meeting.
Okay. All right.
Okay, this is Regina.
Hi.
She goes to,
University of Rochester.
and she is a
Rising senior.
rising senior.
Oh shit.
Can we not talk about it?
Right. Okay, this is Claire, my sister, and she goes to,
NYU.
and she is a,
Rising junior.
and I'm a rising freshman. This is so perfect.
Wow.
We got every grade.
Freshman, sophomore, junior,
Diversity.
senior. I mean, yeah. So then let's start with classes, because everyone knows that you go to college to get an education, right? Right, guys? Right. Okay.
Woo.
So.
Get that degree.
So, how did you guys decide your major? Or like, okay, how have you guys decided your major? And if so, how did you make that decision, and what made you choose what you did choose?
So I wanted to be a doctor,
Uh-huh.
and my parents were like, no, which is weird because
Wait, that is weird.
I know because Asian parents,
I
right?
usually would say yeah.
I
Yeah,
said no?
yeah, they were like, my dad was like, so we had a deal, right? He was like, okay, you can be pre-med if you study BME too. BME is biomedical engineering. I like went through the courses and stuff like that, and I realized, oh, I didn't really like biology and I didn't really like chemistry, but I did enjoy like not enjoy studying for my engineering courses, but like I enjoyed studying for them more. I was like, oh, okay, this is probably a sign that I should be an engineer.
I knew exactly what I wanted to do going in, so this is on the other half. Sorry if it's not super relatable. I already knew I wanted to do engineering. I applied directly into the engineering school because I knew I liked the intersection between a lot of different sciences, and I liked the application of that.
So, Claire, what was your experience? What are you majoring in, and how did you decide that,
Yes.
and how was your experience?
Okay, well, I'm majoring in computer science, but I feel like my experience was like in between yours two, because I went in, I applied for computer science, and I went in and I was like, this is what I'm gonna do for sure. But then around like sophomore year, I started having regrets, and I was like, wait, I'm actually like a lot more interested in like media and marketing, kind of. At that point, it wasn't too late to change my major, but it was like, because the major I wanted to do was so different, like it would have required me transferring schools internally, like within NYU, and it was too late to do that. So I was kind of just like, you know, I'll just like stick it out and get this degree, because it can still be like, it's still useful and applicable, and I can do the other stuff, like honestly, like without a degree. I mean, it's better if you have a degree, but if you have experience in the field, in those fields, it's still like, you can still like work in them. Even if you think you know coming in, like what major you want to do, you should still like keep an open mind and take like all sorts of classes, because you never know, like you might really like something that you didn't know about.
So one of the questions I had, which is like super random or whatever, is like, when I'm choosing courses, how would you guys suggest, like what?
Oh, like scheduling?
Yeah, like everyone's like, you know, like in high school you wake up at like 3 to 6, whatever, 6:30, and it's like horrible.
Mm-hmm.
And in college, like you don't have to do that, but like should I?
No.
You stay up later in college, and motivation to wake up for 9 a.m. just decreases significantly after.
Wait, I disagree.
Ooh.
Oh, tea.
So, first semester my classes were like 10 to 10:30, which wasn't too bad at all. Second semester, I had like basically all 9 a.m.s, and I did that on purpose.
She did what?
This is abnormal.
In college, I like to hang out with my friends at night, so I try to do all my work throughout the day when I'm like not really with my friends, like in between classes. So that's why I like to start my day off earlier. For my own scheduling as well, like I like to have free afternoons, and then you can insert like if you want to do research, to do research, it's important to have like a large chunk of time, right?
So would you suggest doing like a 9 a.m. like twice a week or
So-
something like that?
So I have a good tip though. You might not think about this, but you know, if you have classes, because classes are like Monday, Wednesday, the same class, and then Tuesday, Thursday, like the same classes. What happened one semester for me is that like one of the days, Monday, Wednesday, I had a 9 a.m. and then Tuesday, Thursday, I had like the first class I had started at noon. And like it kind of fucks with your sleep schedule because after, you know, the noon class, you aren't tired because you woke up like literally at 11:30. But then you have to sleep early to wake up for your 9 a.m.
So keep it consistent.
Not
If
if possible, keep it consistent.
If possible, keep it consistent, but the big thing to remember is that a lot of the times things are out of your control.
Okay, let's talk about social life. What's your advice for going in freshman year? Like how do you guys suggest making friends?
Extracurriculars, I feel like, are a big one.
Freshman year, I think it's a huge opportunity to just like randomly tap people and be like, what's your name? Hi. Because it's not weird in the first few weeks of school at all. Because like everybody's new, nobody has friends. just be like weirdly extroverted, like your first week in
No,
class.
like so freshman year, literally everybody is like probably in the same boat as you. Like they don't
Yeah.
have any friends. So literally everybody's making friends with literally everybody. So it's not weird at all to talk to any like random person anywhere in your class, in your hall, in like an extracurricular. Like so just do that as much as possible and then you just meet a bunch of people.
Also, it's super important to make friends in classes so you can help with.
Oh yeah, you
stuff.
need because you need help.
It
with that.
naturally happens, like you struggle over homework together.
For a city school, I recommend, like, you really have to put in legwork to get friends. You can't just, like, sit back and expect people to talk to you, kind of. How I made the friends that I'm, like, closest with now is that I just went to Club Fest, where they, like, have all the club booths for extracurriculars and stuff, and I signed up for, like, literally, like, 20 clubs.
I have generalized advice. I feel like most colleges have pre-orientation programs. So most colleges have like orientation, aka when all the freshmen move in, none of the upperclassmen are there yet, so you get your own time. But before that, it's pre-orientation, and a lot of colleges offer different programs for that. Like there are hiking ones, there are like leadership ones. They're super nerdy. Like literally all the pre-orientation programs at Penn were like, go green, like environment, leadership.
Bam, the ones at MIT are like chemistry, biology.
But I found that a lot of freshman groups are based off of their pre-orientation programs. It's high-key a cult sometimes. Like, do it. I recommend, especially since a lot of the times
You recommend the cult?
Be a
I recommend the cult.
Join a cult.
Join a cult.
A lot of orientation programs at colleges don't necessarily. They're not necessarily conducive to like forming friend groups because it's like really chaotic sometimes. Because there's so many people coming in.
So do pre-orientation.
And join a cult.
To make sure when you go into college, like don't try to make friends with who you think you want to be friends with. Like a lot of people will want to go into college and like, I'm gonna reinvent myself. I want to be friends with this kind of group,
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
I feel that.
Or like do this instead of like what I used to do in high school. But really just like be true to yourself, and then you'll find like
Yeah.
genuine close
Don't be
friends.
fake.
There's like not even like cliques or like at college, you know.
Yeah, nobody cares about you in college.
It's just like be friends with
Yeah.
whoever. Like, no one really cares. Like,
Yeah.
Let's talk about Greek life and parties.
Okay.
So for Penn, Greek life encompasses about 30% of the population. Obviously, a lot of the party scene comes from like frats, sororities, you know. You don't necessarily have to join that. I know a lot of extracurriculars throw parties. I would recommend definitely rushing. So that process is like talking to a bunch of different girls if you're a girl, and meeting all the different sororities, because that way you meet a lot of new people, and then you decide if like sorority life is for you. That's you don't have to join a sorority, because just being a girl, honestly, you can get into any party.
All right. Anyone else?
You could probably get into a party even if you are not a girl. So if you are a male,
For the guys out there.
you can also go to parties.
In NYU, it's a lot different. I don't know what percentage of students are in Greek life, but it's not like very high. You don't really have frat houses, or like there are frat parties, but like not a lot. Frat parties are when they rent out clubs, and you like absolutely don't need to be in a sorority to go to any of the frat events or parties. So I mean, you can still join a sorority if you just want that extra like community that like NYU itself like doesn't really give you. But if you want to party, you don't have to.
Yeah, so that's sorority life. A lot of them have like drop boxes where there's like, you know, shared notes for like past experience. Like, you know, older students have taken those classes, so sometimes that's helpful. It's super helpful to ask upperclassmen as well, so that's like another helpful thing about a sorority. You never have to buy a textbook again, because they'll just like pass it down.
That's a good one.
Oh my goodness, there's so many questions that didn't record.
So let's talk about dorm life. Do you guys have like, do you have to be best friends with your roommate? Because like, I know that I would like to be really good friends with my roommate, but I've also heard that like it's not the most important thing in the world, you know?
I would definitely say no, and in fact, low-key I prefer it if my roommate is not one of my best friends. No offense to any of my best friends, but because when you hang out with your best friends all the time, and like, say there's like drama or anything like that, like it's nice to have a place you can go and like get away from that, if that makes sense. Again, nothing against any of my friends, love you guys, but also it's nice to live with your best friend, obviously, as well. But you definitely don't need to be best friends.
Best friends don't necessarily have the same living habits.
Yeah, that too.
Right? So like, you know, cleanliness situation or like certain jobs. Everybody has their own living habits, and your best friends don't necessarily share that with you. Although I did live in my like best friend's room, basically. Like I was never in my house.
Yeah, see, I basically live there, but it's also nice to have a place where you're not.
It's like good to know that you have somewhere to like escape. Like you have your own set place. It's important to be considerate of your roommate, but also important to be considerate of yourself.
Right.
Yeah, and be assertive and not passive aggressive if
Right,
your roommate is
communication.
doing something you don't like. I mean, within reason. Like, you can't ask them to like stop random things, but say your roommate smokes like weed and you hate the smell. You're not necessarily against it, you would just rather them not do it in your room, you know, that makes sense. It makes perfect sense. So instead of ratting them out to the RA, why don't you just talk to them and be like, hey dude, like, I would prefer if you just smoke somewhere else. You have to ask first, you know? It doesn't make any sense to go behind their back when you didn't even try, you know? Because how do they know you want them to stop if you never told them?
You can also like declare boundaries. So like I had my half of the room and my roommate had her half of the room. If I wanted things neat, like my side would be neat. And if she didn't feel like cleaning that day, like is okay as long as all her stuff is on her side of the room.
And like make sure to split jobs if that's how you want to do it, because we had like a shared trash area. So like, okay, my roommate would be in charge of taking out the trash every time it got full, and I'd like vacuum the room or like wipe down the sinks and like
You
the
vacuum
countertops.
your room? You don't have to vacuum your room.
All right, solid advice. That was good. That
Yeah.
was good advice. Yeah. So how do you guys like stay in shape? Because I know that a lot of people will do sports in high school and then like not necessarily continue those sports in college. So like, how do you guys stay
Okay,
in
well,
shape?
the short answer is that we don't.
All right.
Freshman 15 is real.
I am in a dance club, so kind of how that happens, I guess, but it's not really a physical dance club. We're kind of there like, woo, let's dance. It's definitely a lot harder because like we were gymnasts back in the
Yes,
day.
us three.
Yes, and
I'm
she's
still a
just-
gymnast, guys. Still a gymnast.
But it's definitely a lot harder to force yourself to go to the gym.
I like to use the gym as like a study break. Going to the gym like releases, you know, endorphins. It makes you happy and it helps
Such
you
a
focus
nerd.
better after.
Right, and I think that if I decide to go to the gym, my brain's like, we're at the gym. This isn't a break. So it is okay if you want to gym as a break, and it is okay if you don't think gymming is a break.
Third time's the charm. My camera ran out of storage, so we're filming on my mom's phone now, so that's why this looks a little different. But we're gonna keep going because
I just really want to get you this college advice.
really want to get you that good advice.
Subscribe for her dedication. What were we talking about? I have no idea.
Study buddy? I mean,
Gym
workout
buddy,
buddy, gym
workout
buddy.
buddy. Yes, workout buddy. Can't cancel on your workout buddy. And it's more fun to go with somebody else as well.
So I have two general questions for you guys to close off this video. The first one is, what is one thing you wish you knew about college going in?
Mine is that in the beginning, when it looks like everybody already has their friend group situation figured out, everyone's already best friends, and you're like, what the heck, I don't know anybody and I don't know what's going on, that nobody else has their shit together either, and so it's okay to feel like you don't.
I think a pretty good piece of advice that I discovered the hard way is don't enter a relationship the first semester of freshman year. Like, a lot of people told me this and I did not listen, and I kind of wish I did, because it's like freshman year, you're really excited, and I think what tends to happen with like not only like my relationship, but like what I've noticed like from other relationships that happened, is that like people are more caught up in the idea of a relationship in college, because there's like definitely a lot more freedom and like room for things to be more serious. But at the same time, like, make sure like you enter a relationship because you like the person, not because you like the idea of a relationship, and etc. Also, it kind of limits like the friends you can make, because like if you guys start dating, like for example, like the second week of college, okay? Just an example. Like, you end up making friends with his friends and he ends up making friends with your friends, and you kind of like limit yourself to like really branching out in terms of like the social spectrum.
So what do you think about like establishing a friend group like separate, or like,
I think just in general, college changes all the time. Like I was really close with my like hallmates freshman year, and now like I'm only friends with like 2 or 3 of my freshman hallmates. Everything's changing all the time in college.
Yeah.
Like, you think you guys are gonna be friends forever, and you might be, but you also might not be.
all right. Any advice from?
I mean, along the same note, it's like, stay open-minded. Everything changes, as Regina just said. College isn't like one pathway. Everybody has their own individualized story. Like, don't follow some preconceived notion that you think college is gonna be. Yeah, so stay open-minded. Everything happens for a reason. And another piece of advice would be, when you enter college, a lot of times what happens is like, you know, this is a time for me to reinvent myself. Like, I want to be friends with these type of people, or I want to, you know, leave this high school me behind and become a new college me. But then what happens with that is like, you often don't find genuine friends that you actually like or can rely on. So just stay true to yourself.
And then my last question is just, what is one thing that you would tell me or another rising freshman, or really anyone who is planning on going to college in the future?
First week, when they give you that syllabus, keep it and take all of the dates that they have on them and put them in like either a planner or a calendar or somewhere that you're regularly.
Google Calendar, colorized
somewhere
edition.
Yeah.
Okay.
And make sure you have all those deadlines, because in college the professors will not remind you about your assignments. If you don't turn it in, nobody's gonna care, and then you might not even know until you get your grade back at the end of the semester, because no one's gonna tell you.
A big one, I guess, would be like, you are so independent in college. Like, classes, like professors usually don't take attendance. They don't really tell you when assignments are due. They don't really handhold you along the way. So like, if you miss a deadline, like, sorry, you missed a deadline. Like, you don't have to go to class, which sounds like lit, except like if you don't understand the material, then sorry, you didn't learn the material. So just like really just be on top of it.
This is not super school related, but when I got into Penn, my sister was super happy for me, my younger sister, but she's also sad that her older sister's leaving. So she wrote up this contract being like, call fam or, you know, FaceTime fam at least twice a week, otherwise suffer a fine of $10.
Adorable.
Yeah,
That's
cute.
really cute.
I signed the contract. I didn't necessarily follow it every week, you know, like when it comes exam season, but I do make sure to call like at least once a week, like one of my family members, or at least like text like, sorry, I can't call today because, you know, your family raised you and they helped you get where you are today, so don't forget about them.
Did you pay the fine though?
I did pay the fine.
My sister ignores my texts.
Mine does too.
Bitch, no, I don't. All right, so that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed listening to advice. I know I certainly did. I actually learned a lot from you guys. Thanks for sharing your wisdom with me and you.
If you found this video helpful, give it
Give it a like.
thumbs
Make
up.
sure to like,
Hit that
comment, and
subscribe.
subscribe.
Hit that bell notification.
bell.
Comment more questions down below or future vid ideas.
True.
All right.
And that's it. We out.